Hi guys, it's Jamie from Jamie and His Whiskey. I hope you're all doing well. I'm back after being away for nearly 3 months. When I say being away, I don't actually mean going away or leaving the country. I just haven't done a video for that amount of time. The reasons for which are numerous. It's been a bit of a weird time, but today I thought I'd do another review for you guys. As I said, it's been a long time, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Benriach 10-year-old. It's a single malt from the Speyside region of Scotland, and what makes this whiskey a little bit different and quite nice is the fact that it's matured in bourbon casks, sherry, and also virgin oak casks, to give it, to try to give it a good amount of complexity that maybe you wouldn't expect in a 10-year-old whiskey. The tasting notes simply say on the front, an abundance of orchard fruits, luscious sweetness, and toasted oak spice. This whiskey is natural colour. It says so there in very small writing, which is good. No colouring added, which I don't know if that really affects the flavour or not. But I guess the more natural a product you get, the better it is. It's 43%, so not bottled at the lowest possible 40. And I think it works well at that percentage. I'm not sure if it's been chill filtered or not. Anyway, that's not the end of the world. So let's get to it. I think from now onwards I'm going to start giving marks. I haven't done so far in my previous videos. But I thought now I've had a bit more experience with whiskey, and I'm starting to get more reference points now for the whiskey that I have. I think I'm starting to get now better qualified at giving scores. Well, we'll see. So this one, yeah, I'll give a score 2 out of 100 overall at the end of the video. So let's get on with the nose first of all, give it a smell. Straight away, there's no peat in here that I can detect. No smoke. It's a very typical Speyside nose. Green apple, I would say, is the dominant feature of this whiskey when you smell it, to start off with. There are elements of the sherry cask coming through. You can definitely smell that, even though it's very, very subtle in the background, and it's quite well balanced with the other casks used. But you definitely get that whiff of that sherry influence in there, which gives it a slightly nutty note to it as well. But I would say it's mainly very fruit driven, with green apple being the one that comes out to you mainly at the start. Now let's see if it translates over to the palate. This whiskey has a bit of punch to it, actually. It's quite light on the nose, but it delivers quite a hefty mouthfeel, and you get hit by this quite sharp, spicy bitterness, actually. Which leads me on to a point about how a whiskey can have intensity in different areas. On paper, doesn't sound particularly intense because it's like fruity, bit nutty, a little bit oaky. There's nothing crazy about this whiskey in the tasting notes, but on the actual the feel in your mouth and how it goes down when you swallow it is kind of intense. It's not a light, friendly kind of arrival. It's got some balls to it. I wouldn't recommend this to a complete beginner. I would say this maybe an intermediate style whiskey. Another reason for saying that is the fact that this whiskey is kind of bitter. It's not just a straightforward sweet whiskey. When you smell it, it's you can smell it slightly on the nose. It has got a sweetish nose, but when you taste it, that bitter note really hammers through. And I wouldn't say it's the most accessible malt because of that. Even for me, dependent on the day, I either enjoy this whiskey or I find after one or two, it's a little bit, or it can be, a little bit off-putting. So I'm going to add water to this, but before I do, I'll give it another quick taste. More of that green apple. There's definitely some spice in there. I'd even go as far as to say there's a little bit of clove in there as well. And some oak. The finish, I'd say, is medium to medium long. It's not my favourite whiskey I've tried, but it's not my least favourite whiskey. And for a reason for that is the fact that I think this whiskey's got a lot of personality going for it. I really do. So what I'm going to quickly do is add some water and see if this affects the whiskey in any way for the better or the worse. I think the water really helps. It's tamed down that bitterness a little bit, and I think it's brought up the sweetness. This whiskey is a very fine balancing act between that kind of sweet and bitter. This one is a whiskey that definitely tips it slightly into that bitter realm. But the water helps. I have to say the water definitely does help. It's rounded it out. And at 43%, this whiskey can really take some water. I didn't have a lot in here, and I reckon I've added a good 6 or 7 drops to this. About a quarter of a teaspoonful, something like that. Of course, with whiskey, with water I should say, you could add as much or as little as you want. Try not to drown it. You want to, maybe add a few drops, see how you go, add a few more drops, that kind of thing. So in conclusion, I do think this whiskey is worth checking out if you're a fan of the Speyside style of whiskey. For me personally, it's not my my go-to flavour profile. But if you like, especially if you like green apple notes in the whiskey, you're going to love this. There's plenty of that going on. There's some nuttiness going on. You can definitely taste the sherry cask influence in this. But as I said, there is this slightly bitter note to it, which with water will definitely tame it down somewhat, but won't get rid of it altogether. Saying that, about 4 or 5 nights ago, I had a bit of a session on this, and I really enjoyed it. It can really depend on your palate on the day, and this is on that fine line. But I do remember that evening, and I enjoyed it. I think I ended up having about four trams of this, and I loved every single one. Don't write it off. Definitely give it a try. It's well made, and it's definitely got a lot of integrity to it. So yeah, that's my review for the Benriach. Score. So I think, all in all, I would have to give this an 85 out of 100. Which I think is a fair score. I have to take into the consideration that it's not one that would be on the top of my list, but one which I would not poo-poo either. So I would definitely go out, give this a try, and it's a sort of an all year round dram really. And again, it will give you a really good reference point for other whiskies as well. I think the whole joy of whiskey is that there are so many different types and so many different flavour profiles to explore, and I really think that the more you try different whiskies, you can then make an informed judgment of what you like and why you like it. Saying that, if you're someone that just has tried a few whiskies and you've settled on the bottle that does it for you, then by all means be my guest and stick with that one. If there's any whiskies that you're trying at the moment that you like or recommend, please drop it in the comments. And I'll see you soon, guys. I'll be back soon with another review when I'll be reviewing the Glen Scotia 15-year-old. And may I say, what a whiskey that is. I'm looking forward to sharing my opinions of that with you then. In the meantime, take care, guys, and have a lovely week. See you soon. Bye-bye.